Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the PHDJ podcast with your two hosts. It's Joe Bunn and my dude, Mike.
What's going on? This is Mike Walter, everybody. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good, my man. I'm good. So I guess this is pre-record, right? Pre-record week?
Well, this is for next week. So, yeah, this will drop... Thursday is July 4th. Should we drop it July 4th? We probably should have had this discussion before we went on air. Yeah, let's drop it July 4th. Or should we drop it Wednesday the 3rd?
Maybe the 3rd for all the people that are traveling on the 4th.
People wake up on Thursdays and they can't even have breakfast until they hear our voices. So I don't want to break that routine. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I'm probably going to drop it July 4th. But then am I going to think to promote it?
I don't know. I'm going to be on the beach or a boat or something.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the beach too, I hope, if it's nice weather. I don't know. I'll figure it out soon. Sorry that you all had to overhear that conversation. I probably should have happened before we went live. But this will stop July 4th week. How about we say that? I don't
even remember why we're recording today, which is a Monday instead of Wednesday. That's how.
Because I am traveling to Tennessee. Again, I'm going back to Tennessee.
For what?
I've been hired by a company in Nashville to do an MC workshop. So I'm traveling Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, and which is probably a great lead into if anyone out there is interested in having me come to your city and meet with your crew one-on-one.
Yes.
We recall this is how Joe and I began our relationship. Joe hired me to come down to Raleigh many years ago, and I've done it now for a number of companies throughout the country, and it's something that I not only enjoy doing, but the feedback is always extremely positive, and I've had a number of company owners bring me back multiple times because they've said that my feedback is so effective with their crew. So
highly recommended, folks. Highly recommended.
But if you're interested, reach out to me and maybe we can work something out.
Highly recommended. Speaking of, are you going to be doing this? Have you agreed to / come to terms with Mobile Beat for doing this next year during Mobile Beat?
I have not signed a contract yet, but we are in talks about it, and it sounds like something that will definitely be happening. I'm sure a big announcement will be made. But yes, I did those MC workshops, and Jake actually told me, according to their surveys, he called it the highlight of the show. Not a highlight, but the highlight. I was really flattered to hear that. And so it just shows that the people that participated, or even if you just sat in, you got a lot of feedback from it. And yes, it sounds like Mobile Beat will be having me back in that capacity, which is something, again, I really enjoy doing. And I think I'm highly effective at it. So
you're really good at it.
Thank you.
Really, without being a dick, you know what I mean? To be frank, I mean.
And again, I think it goes to my years of doing this for my own crew. And I learned years ago that if you blow somebody up in that moment, you can, feel good, maybe get some laughs with everybody else in the room, but you could possibly crush that person. And basically the next day, get an email from them saying, hey, I quit. I don't want to do this anymore. Yep. And so I think I've learned from years and years of doing this how to, very tactfully give feedback that gets people better but doesn't crush their soul.
I agree, man. Really good at it. Yeah. So moving on to the topic at hand, I had a few things in my head. So Mike and I, if you're a new listener, just to give you a little background, we always kind of split weeks. So I'll say this week is my topic, last week was Mike's, and so on and so forth. And so right before we were getting ready to go on, I had a couple of things in my head. I was going to do a little grab bag like I like to do, but I saw this post.
And P.S. to the listeners right now, you're about to hear what this topic is, and so am I.
Yes,
Joe has
exactly.
Given zero lead-in. So if I am flummoxed by the topic and offer nothing, it's because I had no.
You won't be because you've been doing this prep time whatsoever. As long or longer than I have, and you've had to deal with it. So 16 minutes before we went on the air, Mike Walter dropped a post. And is this guy's name David or David?
Davide.
Oh, shoot. Davide. Look at him.
Yeah,
anyway,
and it's funny because that was one of our first conversations when I hired him. I said,
like, bro, help me.
We really should change his name. And he's like, no, man, it's my So we've had to explain Davide to hundreds of clients for years.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so it's awesome picture of this guy, Davide. He's on the dance floor. Looks like could be even a mitzvah. A lot of kids in the background on this one, but the guy's having the time of his life and looking at the camera. And Mike writes, I've told the Davide story many times in the last 12 years. So as you can imagine, this was a hard post to write. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want to paraphrase. It just gives a quick paragraph about how Mike met this guy, as he has done multiple DJs and MCs over the last 20, 30 years, from anywhere from at a road race to at their wedding to at a Applebee's, and basically turn them into working superstars for Elite. But the reason I bring this post up is because it's so poignant to a consulting call I did the other day. And my point is, and the post point is, that Davide is leaving Elite Entertainment. So my question is, Mike, what is, and this question's been asked to me several times, and it's always a little bit difficult to answer, what is the best way for a DJ to leave a multi-op company? And so and kind of take it back to Corey, and you know.
Yeah, so to me, the most professional way is leave when you're getting out of the business. Obviously, don't leave to become the competition.
Right.
Don't leave to go work for a competitor or open your own company.
Right.
No matter how understanding we all are as business owners, that is obviously going to cause some friction and everything else.
Yeah.
But then the real right way is to give, what could amount to basically a year of notice, and basically say, stop booking me. I will honor all the contracts that I'm on. And that's what you referenced, Corey. That's what Corey did a number of years ago. He said, stop booking me. When's my last booking? That's when I want to leave. And P.S. Corey has now come back. But when Corey left, he basically gave us more than a year's notice.
Yeah.
And we booked him up until the weekend that he left. And then he left. Davide basically did the same thing. Davide didn't have anywhere near the workload that Corey did. But so when he came to me late last year and said, Mike, this is really it. My day job is taken off. His two kids are now of that age. I think they're a couple years younger than your boys, but now they're playing sports and they need their dad on the weekends. So, he explained all this to me, and I understood.
How long ago was this?
This was late last year, so 7 months ago.
Okay.
And we looked at his schedule, and he had a number, he had a handful of gigs booked, and the last one was Saturday night, June 22nd.
Yeah.
And Davide went out the door with nothing but rave reviews and compliments, and I have no doubt that we'll get a Wedding Wire review from Saturday night, because he is that kind of professional. He rocked those last few weddings. The fear is always, is somebody going to stop working hard, once they know the exit is there. Mm-hmm. But if you're working with somebody who's got personal pride and loves their job, I never worried about that one bit with Davide. I always knew that he was going to take care of his clients to the utmost up until the very end, and I'm sure he did.
Okay, so a couple of points I want to make on this. As a company owner, and there's so many people that listen to this that are single op and working another job and want to go full time, grow their companies, and you're going to go through this. There's going to be hirings, firings. There's going to be burnout. There's going to be people that have kids and their wife tells them they have to quit, or their wife tells them they have to quit just because they don't like the hours or whatever. So you just have to be ready. And again, it can be your veterans. How long has he been here, Mike?
Davide's 12 years with us.
You talk about a hard pill to swallow. Like Mike said, it's hard post for him to even write. The guy is literally part of his family. He's been around for over a quarter of Mike's entire life. This guy's been.
But you know what, Joe? When that day that I approached him and gave him a business card and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about DJing?" If you had told me in that moment, this guy's going to give you 12 years of hard work, he's going to do hundreds of events successfully. I don't think Davide ever got a questionable response from a client. He never got a complaint. Like, if you told me that day, this is going to be your payoff, I'd give that card 100 times over. Like that
Absolutely.
to me, it's not a lifelong commitment that anybody signs once they come on board.
Same here.
I've had DJs work a lot less than 12 years and do a lot fewer events than Davide. So, you know, it was worth it. And yeah, is it a hard
100%.
pill to swallow? Always. I mean, I said goodbye to him at the last staff meeting. I think I mentioned it. We had that dinner, and, you know, that was our welcome back, Corey, and our saying goodbye to Davide. And dude, I got choked up. I mean, I love this guy. He's not only a great MC, but he's become a friend of mine. You know, Kelly and I have gone to his house and had dinner. He was a guest at my wedding. I mean, the guy's become a friend, and he always will be. I mean, I'm very good friends with a number of people who have left this company professionally. And so, yeah, is it painful? No doubt. But it's also it's life. I mean, it's the circle of life.
To make the point about Davide, he left the right way. So let's pivot though, Mike, because you wouldn't be sitting in that chair that you're sitting in with the talent surrounded by you unless you had left another company. Okay,
well,
wait, hold on. Wait, no, I'm not. I didn't say that right. You left another company to start your own company.
I did.
True. Okay, that's what I meant to say.
Yes.
So regardless of the training there or anything else, but you left. So if that question, and it has been posed to me recently, is how do you, Mike Walter, advise someone, right, that is currently working for a multi-op in whatever city, middle America, that wants to start their own thing? How do they gracefully exit that company?
So, and listen, Joe, it's a great question.
Yeah. It's tough, right?
Listen, at that point, it is tough. And I can tell you as a business owner, the few times that's happened to me where someone has come to me and said, Mike, I've loved working for you and everything else. Thanks for everything. But I want to strike out on my own. Listen, it's America. If you want to, I'm not going to try to hold you back. It's one of the reasons why I don't sign my DJs to non-competes. You know, that's the American way, and I'm going to understand it. I will hope that you honor all your agreements on the way out the door. Right. And I also hope that you don't use my events to market your new company. In other words, be handing out elite cards at elite gigs and do things the right way. But other than that, I can't stop you. I'm not going to try to stop you, especially if you've worked for me for a number of years. You know the benefits of working for me. And if you've still made that decision, I can't stop it. Are you going to be a guest at my wedding 3 years from now? Probably not. But we can do this as professionally as possible, if that makes sense.
Okay. So with that being said, then, if a guy or girl came to you today and said, all right, Mike, I've decided that I'm going to go out on my own, but I'm not going to do it until January 1 because I know that I've got 6 months of gigs still on the books for Elite Entertainment. You, as a company owner, are still okay with them going out and doing those shows, even though they've admitted.
Oh, yeah. Listen, not only am I okay with it, I would insist on it because their name is on the agreement. So I would rather, and I've done this numerous times in my career, I'd rather have a DJ cover an event who's on his way out and opening his own company than have to call a bride and say, listen, remember that DJ that I promised you? I can't make him available to you anymore. So that phone call is painful, and I don't want to ever have to make it.
I think this is where we're different on this subject, because I feel like, they're going to be out there marketing themselves or trying to, rally the wedding planner or the banquet captain to go with Bob's service. I also think that B, they're half checked out already, so the performance is going to be possibly shit. And then third, and most importantly, I feel like I'm funding their new company. Like every check I'm writing them, I'm like, that just paid for his website.
So point 1 and 3 makes sense to me. Yes. Point 2 makes zero sense because that he's going to be checked out. Right, because if he is trying to launch his own company and he is trying to use this opportunity to impress the banquet people and the wedding planner, why would he give a half-assed performance? That's not the case. You have a much more likely opportunity if somebody is like a Davide who's getting out of the business, giving a half-assed performance. And that's why I said somebody like Davide, I trusted him to finish out his gigs because I knew personal pride. He's a great guy. He would never let his performance. But I have taken those last couple of gigs away from somebody who's on their way out the door because I have seen performance suffering. And so and I hate to even use Davide here as an example because it never would have happened with him. Mm-hmm. But if I have a guy give me 6 months and say, look, Mike, I'm getting out of the business, everything else, and then we get a couple of complaints, then I'm yanking the rest of his gigs.
Sure.
And I'm calling his clients and saying, look, your DJ is leaving us. He's gotten a couple complaints. I'd rather reassign your wedding than put your wedding at jeopardy. And at that point, they're a little bit upset that they're not getting the DJ they wanted, but most will understand.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it, folks. I mean, 100,000,000% that phone call, regardless of how you spread it, sucks. You know what I mean? When you have to call the bride
to the client,
to the client and say that you have to change personnel, the only saving grace is that I don't book myself every weekend, and sometimes I can do it, and they feel like they're getting me for the associate rate.
Let me just back up 1 minute.
Go ahead.
It has the potential to suck.
Yes.
I have called numerous brides through the years with this kind of bad news. And sometimes you get, oh, that doesn't matter. I believe in your company and you have a great reputation, whoever you send me.
True.
So have had that. And that's why you never know until you pick up the phone and call.
You don't.
You might get a bride that goes, oh my God, are you kidding me? You're ruining my wedding. I had my heart. And you might get a bride that goes, Joe, we went with your company. We don't care who we get.
Yes.
We believe in you and your company. Send us whoever. So you don't know. It could suck, but it's not. If you have 20 calls to make like this, they're not going to suck.
Oh, no. I mean, and again, to speak to Mike's point, I can think of maybe 1-2 people over the entire course of years, 20 years now of doing this, where somebody's genuinely freaked out. And I don't think that anybody ever said, send me my deposit back, we're going another route. Because
I filled in for one of my DJs once because his grandmother died.
Yep.
So grandmother died. You can't get the DJ. The owner of the company who had the weekend off is stepping in, and she still complained.
Oh,
so
wow.
So you can't predict it. I mean, most clients, reasonable clients, would go, oh, my God, of course, his grandmother died. He should go be with his family. And, oh, my God, I'm getting the owner of the company. That's awesome. But that's how you cannot predict it.
You can't.
You just can't predict it.
You really can't. But to go back to my original point, your original point, the reputation of your company will go such a long way. And just in general, in life, business.
And that's why I'm willing to risk. He's probably going to hand out his business cards, and he's probably going to use that opportunity to schmooze and bank with people. Mm-hmm. I would rather that than the reputation hit of reassigning events. Right. And if you have done a good enough job securing the relationships with your banquet people, if they hear that so-and-so is leaving, they're going to go, that's great, but my loyalty is with Mike.
Same.
So if you lose somebody to somebody like that, then what that says is look in the mirror. You haven't solidified a relationship with that person.
That's a good point. A little bit of insecurity there.
I try to make as many good points on this podcast as possible, Joe.
I feel like I'm more the interviewer. I'm like Stern, and you're more like Roger Daltrey or somebody like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
A young Roger Daltrey.
This was a really good topic, and you're right. You kind of stopped me in my tracks. I left Star a number of years ago, and you're right. I did it. Now, I did it because I saw the company was kind of going downhill, and as it turned out, I was right. A few years after I left, it was a shadow of itself. And I would like to think that anyone's leaving Elite isn't leaving out of fear that Elite is going out of business. Mm-hmm. But you're right. I mean, and it took me many, many years to kind of bury the hatchet with both of the owners there. I have since then, and John Murphy and I have broken bread, and Rick Aldi and I have broken bread. But it took me a number of years to kind of repair those relationships. And now that I am where I am, I understand why. I understand why that was hurtful to them, that, a key figure in their company up and left.
Mike, real quick, do you happen to have there with you those VHS tapes that Ron gave you?
Oh,
have you posted that yet?
Yeah, I put a picture of them up.
I didn't see it.
One of the reasons why they were doing so poorly, that video project put them into a ton of debt, which they scrambled to get out of.
If you haven't seen this, go back last week. Mike was gifted from Ron Ruth, who's awesome, by the way, 3 of these VHS tapes that Mike used to work.
90s that Star produced. Yeah,
they were basically like how to
dance.
Yeah, how to dance.
Yeah, how to be interactive, how to dance.
The covers alone are priceless. Go back and find them on Mike's page immediately. Mike, anything else you want to add about this? This is a good topic.
This was good. This was good.
Fantastic. Well, guys, please continue to listen, and if you have any comments, questions, or even if you're kind of caught in a situation like this and you want some advice, just message us privately, and we will certainly try and help as business owners that have seen it, from pretty much every angle.
Yeah, I mean, the long story short, though, also is this is why you always need to have talent in your pipeline.
Totally.
Because you can get blindsided by a veteran who says, hey, man, I need to wrap up my career. And then the next thing you know, you're scrambling to replace him. When Davide told me he was leaving 6 months ago, we kind of already had the talent to step up and replace him. So it's why you always need to have that bullpen full or roster full or whatever you want to call it.
ABH, always be hiring. Anytime somebody asks me if I'm hiring, I say always. Even if I don't need them right now,
Kelly just started at a new gym 2 weeks ago, and she was telling me about this trainer who's got a great personality and a great look. And I said, babe, why haven't you given my business yet? And she was like, oh, you think I should? I'm like, hell yeah.
Yes.
Always
yes,
looking.
Always hiring.
Always. And by the way, so we don't know when we're going to drop this, but it will be in time for the July 4th holidays. We should say, happy Independence Day, happy July 4th, and please be safe out there. You DJing is a lot easier with all 10 fingers.
Yes.
If you're shooting off fireworks, like I know my PHDJ partner, you told me the amount of money that you drop on fireworks last week while we were
Burning
at
money.
Yeah, they literally, you might as well light a couple of hundies on fire and just float them off into the. But be safe, Joe. Be safe.
I will, for real.
Listeners, have a fantastic holiday, but please be safe and enjoy.
Happy 4th, everybody. Thanks for listening.
We'll leave it there. Ciao.
Yes, sir. Later.